Hiya, it's Ali here. I'm just nipping on. Basically, this one's going to be, I'm going to fast forward it after I've had a little chat to you. I'm going to be doing what I promised a couple of weeks ago with regards to sharing how I do my backgrounds with you. But I'm going to do it based on this recent IMALA launch. So I'm going to go through all the stamps that I've got, and then after that I'll be getting on with the actual backgrounds that I made. I'll show you some backgrounds that I've made, and then I'll be showing the process that I do, but I will speed it up a little bit so that you're not here forever. So here is the most recent release of the IMALA. They're absolutely brilliant. I mean, every single chapter that is released gets better and better. There's just no doubt about that. So we've got another 10 this time. So the first one is Daisy Chain. I'm just going to whip through them because obviously you'll have watched Create and Craft, you'll have seen what they are, you'll have seen them being stamped out and what have you, so I don't have to go through all that process with you. So we've got Daisy Chain, we've got Stardust, we've got Art Blocks, Striker Pose, Why Not, Stay Together, Ink Me, Fearless, the lovely ink panel, and last but not least we've got one of my favourites, which is the trendy stamp, which is that fantastic jeans and sandals outline stamp, brilliant for girly cards and what have you. So there you go. So that's all the stamps. So I'm just going to, whoop, today's I pop those to one side, and then what I'm going to do is just show you some of the backgrounds that I've pre-prepared, but these are actually going out, so what I'll be doing is making them again here and using them so you can see the process. This one I won't be doing today, but it is actually a shading foam technique. So one of my favourite techniques, but it is messy, and I'll do that in another video for you. So that's a shading foam technique. This one is actually Distress Oxide. I think it's Carved Pumpkin, and then all I've done is popped a stencil over it, and I've bleached through it with water. So I think the stencil was this, yeah, it's a circular stencil. So I've gone over it with Carved Pumpkin, and I think it was Spice Marmalade, just a little mix in the brush, and then I've gone over that with this stencil with some water, but again I'll show you later, but that's how I've achieved that. This one is some sprays with gold marker in it, and then one of Tony's stencils. I've gone through that. Again, this one is using the Distress Oxides, and then I've splattered water on the top. Again, Distress Oxides, and then gone through some stencils. This is actually a canvas board that I've used. I've actually used the Gossip inks, these beautiful little bottles of ink. I've used two different colours. I think it was number 9 and number 11 I've used. Yeah, number 9 and number 11. And then I've gone through a stencil for that as well. This one, again, oxides, and then I've gone through a stencil. I've used a script stencil as well, this is one of my favourite backgrounds. This is just wiping up oxides off your glass mats. This one is abstract powder. Now I've got the abstract powder in pink from Tony, from Stamps by Me. It's the only one I've got, but I will be getting some more, and I've basically brushed that out in the background, and then I've splatted on, did I splat on? I've splatted on with the Gossip Pinks number 9 and number 11 on that one, so over the top. This one is, it's a clean off sheet that I've sprayed with gold mica, and I've used a stencil and smooched through with marmalade oxide. So if you look at that, you can see out there you've got that beautiful gold shimmer coming off there as well. This is on watercolour card, and I've used oxides and then splattered this one with gold Kuritake paint, so we'll do this later. So This one is cracked pistachio, peacock feathers, pretty penny dye, which I've actually cut out and gone through it. I've created it, you know, made it into a stencil, but it is actually a pretty penny dye from one of the pretty penny releases. But it makes a fantastic stencil, doesn't it? So there you go. And this is one of Tony's stencils, and I've used one lipstick and spice marmalade, and then I've spritzed through the actual stencil, which is this one, this stencil here. So you've got, I think you can see that, and I've spritzed through that with the hot pink pearly ink spray. It is a very busy background, but at the end of the day, it's a brilliant background. You can cut it up, you can make flowers with it, you can stamp straight onto it. It just depends what stamps you've got and what you want to achieve. So that's that. This one is peacock feathers, cracked pistachio, and this stencil, which is another one of Tony's. So let's turn that over there so you can see that one. It's one of my favourite stencils actually, and I've just gone through that with a mixture of cracked pistachio and peacock feathers. And this is another one of my favourite backgrounds, so I might do this one in a different colour later. And then this one is oxides and Kuretake pearl paints that I've literally just created the splatters and the pearls sort of maintained in the splats, which I quite like that. So I'm going to probably recreate that for you as well. So yeah, so that's what I've done. Like I said, these are actually going to be used on other projects. In fact, I think these may be used on some of the samples that Tony does or did, depending on you're listening to this after, aren't you? So it'll be on samples that Tony did on Create and Craft. So without further ado, I'm going to create some backgrounds for you. So one of the ones that I said I was going to do for you was the Kuretake. So the Kuretake paints that I'm referring to are these, and I've got the pearl colours, I've got the starry colours, which is the whites and the golds, and I do have some others as well. And I've got gem colours, so I'll just take them out quickly. So you've got these beautiful gem shiny colours, and you've got golds. I'll keep those out because I'm going to be using those, and then I've got the pearl because I'm going to be using those. So I'll just leave those to one side. That'll paint it away. So I've got some, I'm going to be doing smaller versions. I have done some, these are A4, the ones that I've showed you here, these are A4 for chopping up. So I'll just do some little so I'm going to use this. I've got a separate board. I'm going to have to just pop a little bit of tape on there because I have an overhead light that likes to glare, and I don't think it looks very good on camera, so I'm just going to pop some tape. That's why I've got the tape on the back one as well. So I've actually ordered some light boxes, so in about a few weeks time I won't have to put this mess about putting this stuff on. So I've got my this is going to be my palette or my lay down of the oxides. So I've got plenty of water in my spray bottle, so let's get on. What I'll do is I've created a sort of pal with my distress oxides. So I've got my greens, my yellows, pinks, blues, etc, etc. So I'm going to attempt to put colours together that I think are going to complement each other. Okay. So all I've done there is just laid the oxide down onto the glass mat, sprayed it with the water, and then I'm just going to sit. This is the Carter watercolour card, one of my favourites. Now I buy or have bought in the past the really expensive watercolour card, and I still get a cockle on it, which is that little bit of a wibble wobble, which is no problem because you can sit it in a heavy book and it will you know, straighten the piece of paper again, but this doesn't tend to cockle as much, so it's I buy this now, and obviously it is slightly cheaper than, well, it's a lot cheaper really than the expensive watercolour that I used to buy. Right, anyway, moving on. So, oh look at that, and that gorge. So what I'm going to do in between times is, I was going to dry it off, but then I'd have to keep stopping the camera for so that I, you know, when I edit out the noise. So I'm just going to wipe off with a tea towel or a cloth. So there you've got, and you maintained a bit of that colour there as well. So what I'm going to do, I mean, I absolutely love to waste anything, so I'm going to get, when I change colours, in between changing colours, I'm just going to pop another sheet of card down to pick up what's left, and just leave those to dry. This isn't watercolour, but it doesn't matter. It's just, I'm going to be doing more work on here, so I need to, there you go, another clean up sheet. So your clean up sheets can turn into fantastic little works of art as well. So, moving on. So that's your starter for 10, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to just pop on some of that gold. I'll just grab my brush. Wobbling all over the place. So I'm going for the bit of the light gold. Okay. There's a bit of a dark gold there. There is a difference between that light and dark gold, and it is quite a biggish difference. So I'm just hoping that the camera can pick up that. Okay. So I'm just going to let that dry behind me while I start working on another, because I'll go back to that and then I'll put a stencil on. So that was one of the backgrounds that I said I'd show you. So one of the easiest backgrounds obviously that you can make is just sort of smooching through with your Distress Oxide. So I'm going to go for the Squeezed Lemonade and the Peacock Feathers. So I'm going to use Squeezed Lemonade to create you know, the base, if you like. Okay, try and bring that Try and bring that what I haven't used onto the card. So you can make it as dark or as light or pastel, whatever as you want to. Okay, so that's the lemonade. I'm just going to wipe off my brush. This is just a brush that I picked up. It was on Amazon. I've got a few in a pack. It was about $7.99. But I mostly use this big one. I am actually going to be using Tony's as soon as I can get an order in when she's got stock in, because as soon as stock comes in it goes out. So, and the reason that I like to use this is because I can put my fingers around it. I have arthritis in my hands, so I can put my fingers around it, and it's a little bit more ergonomic for me. Moving on, I'm going to just smooch some of this blue. I'm not thinking about where I'm putting it, because I find if I think about what I'm doing, it goes all belly up, and it's just, it doesn't work for me to think about it, to be honest. All my videos, as you know, are off the cuff. The only thing I do find with using oxides is your fingerprints will show up on it, so use a tissue or a piece of paper when you're blending. Okay, so I've blended that, and I like those two colours together, and you've got like your mid, like a bluey in there between the yellow and the green. So, and then all I'm going to do is just, with my spritz bottle about 6 or 8 inches away, I'm just going to let that drop. So this is one of the easiest ways to do the bleaching effect and to create background, is just simply laying the colour down and then popping your water on. And what the water does is it reacts with the oxide and it bleaches out and creates like so. And that's a brilliant background in my opinion. Okay, so I'll pop that to one side and go back to it in a minute. So the next one, I'll just wipe that down a little bit. So the next one I'll do for you is, I'm going to use the beautiful Glossy Pinks. So I'm going to use number 9 and number 2, which is a yellow and a blue. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to spray my card a little bit, and I'm going to grab my paintbrush, my little one, and just grab, I'm just going to drop the ink into the water. Okay, so you're getting the splats on the card that isn't got water on it, and then you've got the water doing the magic where it, you know, where you have put the water. So you've got the twofold, you've got the splats and you've got the water, you know, going out. Can't find my words today, never mind. So then I'm going to get number 9. So if that one was number 2, this one's number 9. I'm going to do exactly the same thing. I love these two colours together, just so you know. So you're going to get that beautiful green creation where it mixes with the blue, and and then where it doesn't, you're going to get that beautiful vibrant yellow, which is the colour. Now I'm not going to put any more in that down because I like how that's looking, so I'm going to put that one to one side to dry. But again, we've got another fabulous background. Okay, I'll probably come back to that later. I will come back to that later. Decide what I'm doing with my stamps. Oopsie daisy. Don't forget to put your rubber bungs back in your Gossip inks. For goodness sake. You'll have ink everywhere. And as much as I love the ink and it's beautiful, I don't like it all over my stuff. Permanently. Okay, so let's move on to another one. So this is number 4. So let's have a see. But these are the ones that I've done. Okay, I'll do one with a text on it. I'll tell you what I did do. This is glue gun, and it was when I was changing the actual glue stick, and what happened was a lot of it, a lot came out. So I thought, oh, what am I going to do? So I just switched it onto my glass mat, and I liked what it came out like, and I thought, oh, what can I do with that? So I'm going to do something with it now. I think I'm going to spray through it. No, actually, I'll distress ink through it. So there's all sorts of things you can find. You don't have to be going out and buying stencils, and just 1 or 2 things. Even your die cuts, when you're cutting your die cuts, if you look at things really closely, you are able to find different ways that you can use your stash, or bits and pieces around the house. So I haven't done anything in pink so far. It's been green and yellow, so I'm going to go and move on to some pink. Just right there. So I'm going to use my big brush, and I'm just going to brush through this. So daisy. So I haven't used this since I made it, so it might be an utter disaster, but you never know. So there you go. I mean, that's created a fantastic background, in my opinion. Okay, so just keep going and creating. Look at that. And I didn't even spend a fortune on a stencil. It's literally just the glue off my glue stick. So we used that was the worn lipstick. So what I'm going to do is just put a bit of a bit darker pink. Like so. There we go. And then I'll just bring it together. I think most folk, I could be wrong, but I think most of you would have a glue gun. So there you go. And that's without going out and purchasing a stencil or anything. And then just to finish that off, I'll do the, I love this, where I just splat some water on it. Okay. And you're getting your water effect as well. So I absolutely adore that. So I'll be doing something on that after. So that's 5 backgrounds. So now I'm going to do, whoops a daisy, sorry about the noise. I'm going to do blue. So what's left on top of there, I'm just going to rub over the pieces. I mean, look, you can just create all sorts. I don't like wasting anything, I'm so tight. I think everything can create background. So we'll go back to that pink one shortly. Actually, do it now, but it will be dry enough. And I will pop on the told you, pop on the script. We'll go to the darker pink and it can be seen. Okay, and I just move it down. There we go. And then we've got another pink one there with the script on it. And I'm just going to, this is what I started with when I picked up the hot glue gun overspray, if you like. I mean, you know, that's brilliant. I love it. There we go. And then what's left to just oopsies. Right, so I said we were going to do some blue next, just so we've got a nice variety of different colours and not all one colour. So pop some blue down. What you can do, pop your blue down. You can do it singularly or separately, should I say, because some people don't like to put all the colour down at once because they don't particularly like it all to blend in together. So I'm just going to smooch that through. Smooch that through. So we've got one layer of blue there. Okay. I'm just going to grab tissue. Don't want to dry. Okay. So then I'm going to go for the next colour of blue. So it's a bit darker, or it's a shade variance. So, not by much, but it is slightly different. Okay. A bit more of that actually. I'll pop this down here like so. Okay. And then I'm going to go for that darker faded jeans. so. Okay. Like that. And I've got a feeling if I just grab one of these stamps, sometimes my brain, when I'm starting doing backgrounds, my brain starts to work around what it can be utilised with and what it does look good with, because sometimes doing backgrounds, and especially using the IMALA stamps, it negates the need for you to worry about colouring in, because you've got, you've created your background, you've created your colour, and especially with these being the stylised kind of stamps that they are. So the one that I'm looking at is that gorgeous trendy, which, if you look, you've got, you put that on there, you've got your jean colour. I could even turn it round. You've got your jeans colour, and you've got a brilliant background there. So sometimes it's just kind of thinking outside the box and stepping back from what you've created to see what you can further, create. And the thing as well is, actually, I'm going to make that. I think I've made enough backgrounds for now, so I'm going to start creating something so that you're not just watching me messing around with this. So just bear with me while I just heat gun this off, and then I'll stamp out that, and then we'll see what we can create with it. So just 1 second. I think this is the beauty as well of doing these kind of things, like where you're crafting along or crafting, just doing things live. And I can't structure things like this because there's just no chance. So I'm very much thinking about things off the hoof, creating things. That's just the way I am. I would not be able to, do a structured video or anything like that, because I just go off on a tangent anyway. So we were saying about using that trendy stamp, which is this fabulous pair of feet and jeans. And I'm going to be using this one that I've created just a second ago. Okay. So don't forget that when you are using watercolour, the ink you need to use is VersaFine, so that you can continue doing your watercolouring effects. Okay, so let's get this all stamped down. Obviously I'm using my Eureka, which is the best thing since sliced bread, because I have trouble with my hands, and obviously these stamps are 6 foot tall, so so you just pressing down. You don't even have to do it kind of like massively. I usually do it a few times anyway, but because I'm using watercolour card, I'm going to have to do it a few times because it's texture, so there's ripples in the card, and that will need me just to give it a little bit of extra pressure. But because I've got the Eureka, it's amazing. I'm able to do it as many times as I need to. And you get a beautiful impression every time. There you go. Look at that. And again, because you're using that blue denim in the background, you really don't need to do much more, but I am going to. Of course I am. So I'm going to just wipe off with my lovely clean Eureka cleaning cloth, which I've had forever, and it's just brilliant. I don't like using baby wipes if I can help it. I do use them. I will, you know, I'll admit to it, I do use them, but I don't like to if I don't have to. Because, you know, if you're not careful, you can go through millions of them. Anyway, I'm not getting into that. So here we've got the gorgeous stamped out image. So what I will do is just add a little bit more. Let's see. So I'll go put some of the Distress Oxide, obviously faded jeans. So we've got your dark, and then just one spray. So I'm going to get this is a number 12 brush, because I've got a bit of space there to work. I'm going to put my lighting first. So I'm just going to go in with, and the beauty of these is they're kind of fixed out for you, really, aren't they? Some of that. So I'm popping my dark in. This is going to be dark naturally because it's under, you know, it's away from the light. Okay, I'm just going to pop back in there, take some of that out, put that back in, and that is one of the good things with the oxides, is that you can go in and just lighten that bit you don't want to be quite so dark. Okay, and then what I'm going to do, I don't like wasting that, but time's moving on. I'm going to give you some pink sandals. Okay, so let's be popping this, because this will just give that shock of colour away from the blue. Okay, so gone quiet because I'm colouring, so I don't think I've disappeared. Like I say, that's just giving that the shock of colour that will just stand it out from the blue. What I would recommend is that you make sure that your straps are dry, you know, that your project's dry before you put the oxide, because obviously the oxide, it will, if it's damp, it'll spread it out. And the reason that this time I haven't used the water to actually on the thing is because I want to make sure it's dark to start with, and then I'll lighten out what I don't want to be dark. Okay, with the oxides, it's like anything else, you can build it up and build it up. But I don't want it to be perfect at all. So you get the idea there. Okay, I think what I'll do, just for fun, I'll give you some pink toenails as well. Okay. So what I'll do with that, once it's dry, is I'll guillotine off the top here so that it only shows, you know, from the top, it's from there. And I would matte and layer that up, and that will be on a card. No doubt that you will have seen on the release. So that's that one. Okay, quite happy with that. I'm going to bring back in one of the backgrounds that we've just completed. Okay, one that I like, it's one of my favourites. And let's have a look in our stamp stash. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, let's have a look. I think I'm going to use this one. I mean, she looks amazing on there already, doesn't she? So this one is the Strike a Pose, that was posh, wasn't it? Strike a Pose stamp. So I'm just going to gently, she says. These stamps are absolutely fantastic. I mean, the quality is amazing. They are so deeply etched, and the polymer is it's just fantastic. It's so thick. Can you see? And you see these here, how deep that etching is. That's one of the things that I, amongst others, love about these stamps. And they, if you look after them, they will last forever. So if you're watercolouring, using watercolouring techniques, and you're using your VersaFine on the actual stamps, using your cloth is fine with a bit of water on. But if you're doing techniques, because sometimes people use stays, sorry, they use they do use stays on, but they use them for techniques like popping it onto vellum, because that needs to be a little bit more permanent. Or if you're using acetate and things like that, or stamping onto glass, those other kind of mixed media techniques, you know, require that you need to use stays on. When you use that, you need to make sure that you use soap and water. Well, I use soap and water on a toothbrush, and that, for me, usually doesn't let it air dry. Make sure you give it a good clean. Warm, not hot soapy water, just warm or cool even. Or if you can buy stamp cleaner. There is a Stays On stamp cleaner. I think there's a Stamp Ender stamp cleaner. Not sure if Tony's got one in her store. She probably has. So that's all I'm going to say on that. Really, it's just look after them, and they'll be good forever. Okay, so stamped up my lovely lady. I'm going to pop that down like so. Okay, and then I'm going to give that just one more go, because obviously, as I say, it's watercolour card, so it is textured. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I just want to do it one more time. Okay. There we go. Happy with that. And again, the thing that I'm saying about these IMALAs is that just popping them onto a background like that, if you wanted to leave that as it is, you can do, you know. You don't have to be doing other techniques, especially if you just learn, you know, you're just starting out. I mean, I must admit, if you're just starting out crafting, the IMALA are brilliant to craft with, because some people say, oh, well, use smaller, and I think bigger is better, but I don't know. That's my opinion. So what I'm going to do is, I think I'm going to give her a blue blouse. So always make sure that your background is dry. I'm just going to give that a little bit of a spritz. Now I'm going to do it like it's a jean jacket, if you like. So I'm going to find my lines first. And I'm going to pop that. And again, the thing is, don't sweat it if you make a mistake or if you think you make a mistake, because it's just a piece of paper. And I'll say this a lot, or as much as I can, because a lot of people, they are conscious of making mistakes. And who's to say you've made a mistake? Because, you know, you look at it and you think you've made a mistake for whatever reason, but somebody else looks at it, and if they're not looking at it in the way you are, they don't know you've made a mistake. Or, you know. So I'll take that right to the bottom. Okay, make that a little bit darker. I would probably wait till that dries and then, just bear with me, I'll just blast it off a second, hang on. Okay, so I'd go in again, because with the oxides, like any water-based or any colouring thing, you can put your depth in. So okay, I'll just blast that off to dry it, bear with. So for skin, I want to try and mix up. I don't know whether this will make a passable skin tone. I can make a passable skin tone, won't it? So in you go. And you can see I've not done anything special. I've just gone in and all I'm doing now is just following the line where there would be some shadow, just a little bit up the nose, under the chin, and the side of there, just a little bit. Okay, and then a little bit of pink there, because I'm going to put blush. Once that dries, that'll dry. Yep. And the thing is if I'm not overly happy with how it's coming out at the bottom here, I can just go in with the water and you just dilute it, because with oxides it's water. So I don't like wasting it, but again, as I say, time's marching on and don't want to be having you for hours on end. So I'm just going to give me some brown hair. So I'm going to use some fossilised amber, and I'm going to use Vintage Photo, and I'm just going to, let's take So you're mixing them together just to make a hair colour. So we've got hair coming here. Down there. So I'm following I'm really not doing anything special. I'm just following the curve. So I'm going to make that slightly darker because I don't want it completely blending in with the skin colour. So I'm just going to make it more of the brown. So I'm making sort of dark patches where there would be, could even go a bit more darker than that, you know, you'd have a natural darkness here, you'd have natural darkness down that bit, you'd have natural darkness down this bit, and natural darkness. So you're going in, and the thing is that when it'll work for you. Do you see what I mean? Once that dries, it'll work for you and giving you the depth. And that's just using oxides. And I'm going to call that done because I can, and usually do, tend to overwork things sometimes as well as overthinking things. I'm happy with that. I'm just going to dry it off. Bear with me. So can you see where it's dried in and it's maintained that lightness as well? So if you wanted to nip in and just pop in you know, a bit more accents of the white, like so. Just let that naturally dry. It just gives you an idea. So you've got your hair, which we've separated from the colour, but the beauty again of it is with it is that it's letting that background through as well, so you've still got that arty stylized kind of effect. So the final thing to do, I would say, is just give her some nice pink lips. Like so. And once that dries, I'll probably put a little bit of white on to, you know, to accentuate that. And I'm just going to put a little bit of blue down because I just want to grab her, pop her eye colour in. And that's it, that's all I'm doing. So there you go. And then again, I would matte and layer that. I'll probably cut it a little bit further down here, and I'd matte and layer it. And that's another card. So that's 2 cards that we've done today. Well, you know, prepared 2 cards. And I've still got 3 more backgrounds that we've prepared, ready to pop some more projects onto. So what we can do with these backgrounds is create another 3 projects. So just bear with me one moment. What I think I'll do, I'll use this middle one first. I'm going to use the art blocks, which are these fabulous ones here. Okay. And what I'm going to use with those is, if you remember in one of the earlier releases, the IMALA released the Gorgeous Fairies. So I'm going to use those as well. So I'm going to use I'd say an understated colour, a bit understated like me, because I'm so quiet. And okay, I'm going to use the First Fine Clair, which, because I don't want it to be quite as in your face as black. Okay, I'm just going to pop that on there. So I just want to work out, I kind of want to do it like stepping stones. So if I've one there, one there, and one there. Okay. From right way around, that might be a good idea. Oh dear. Right, so they're kind of equidistant. So I'm going to pop those 3 down, and then we'll move on from there, because I haven't really thought out what I'm going to do. I have an idea. Okay, so I'm just going to press down. So I'm doing it in grey because I don't want it quite so dark. The fairy's going to be dark, so okay. That's the thing, as I say, with it being textured paper, you do need to, watercolour paper, you just need to give it that little bit extra, just simply because it's textured and it just needs that little bit more persuasion. There you go. So I'm just going to wipe those stamps off with my little cloth. Okay, so I picked the fairy that I was going to use, which is the fairy that looks looking like it's sat down. So I'm going to sit her there. Obviously I need to make sure she looks like she's sat on it and not got her bottom in the air. So we've got that one there, and then we have another one. So let's have a look. Pop her there, and then her there. And then I want to find a sentiment that will fit in. But I also don't want it to be too big. Let's have a look. This one will fit in, but it's just a little bit too big. Bear with me a second, I'm just going to go and find a stamp. Right, so I've found this stamp set, which has got "Get Your Happy On," "Perfect Just the Way You Are," "You're a Whole Lot of Lovely, Yes You Are." Okay, it's one of Tony's. So what I will do, I think I'm going to make them all gold. So I think with the gold in the background as well. So I'm going to do some heat embossing. I'm just going to pop, get this ready. I'm nerdy for having my inks open as well. Terrible. Right, so let's have a look. We have got, I want some gold, so I'm going to go for the nice This is sort of like a gold pearl, which is a super fine. And I'm going to grab my Versamark. So let's pop these over. I'll just check again that they're in the right place. So I want her there, this one here, and she needs to look like she's sat on there, which she doesn't actually. So let's just pop her back on again. Okay, so that looks good enough to me. So you're using your VersaFine for this, so what I would suggest as well is using your anti-static bag. Okay, and then I just swish off the powder. It won't do any harm, but there you go. It just takes any surface moisture so that the embossing this ink will adhere to it. And again, as I say, I'll keep saying it about it being a watercolour card and having a texture. You do need to be mindful. So I'm going to do that again, just so that I know I've got a nice, whoopsie daisy, I've got a nice coating of the ink. You really don't need to press down as hard as I'm doing. It's just, I just really want to make sure. Okay. So you pop off your card, and then I'm just going to pop on the embossing powder. Okay. So anywhere where you see that it may have just gone onto the project where you don't want it, i.e. there, then you just want to pop it off. It looks like this is actually stuck to the black as well, so we're just going to see how that comes out. It may come out as a happy accident, it may actually not look right, we'll see. It's actually turned out okay, because what's happened is, I mean, I would have preferred it to have been the grey in the background, but what's happened is the gold on the Versamark has turned into the gold pearl, and then where it's gone onto the Claire VersaFine on the background, it's just gone a darker gold. But it's okay, it's not too bad, and you know, it's come out okay. I made the mistake, so you don't have to. Ideally next time I'd make sure that this was completely dry before I went over the top with the VersaFine, but no matter, it will make a lovely card. Mat that up onto some black, and then that's card number 3. Okay, so I'm just going to wipe down the stamps that I've used. Okay, so again, with all the IMALAs that come out, they all will kind of interact with previous ones as well. That's the way that they've been created, and the way that they've been coming out each chapter, so that the ability to mix and match is there for you. So that's a really, really good thing. It's been well thought out. Okie dokie, so that's the art blocks. So there, I quite enjoyed using those. So we've got, where are we? Where did our other backgrounds go? So we have these backgrounds left. So let's have a look at what we can do here. So we've used our striker pose, we've used our art blocks, we've used trendy. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do, I like those two there. So I'm going to use the why not stamps. I'm going to use that on this background. So I'm just going to give this a quick blast to make sure that it's completely dry. So bear with me 1 second. So remember, this is the background where we used the beautiful Gossip ink pots. So I'll just take that out of the water, it'll ruin it. Never leave your paintbrushes in water, it ruins them. Now then, pop these off here. So I'll bring my Eureka back into shot, and I'm going to use both ladies. And I think what I'll do is, I'm not going to add anything on this, I'm going to just use the background as the background, if you know what I mean, and that will be the filling, if you like, for the actual stamp. I'm just taking my time taking these off here. I don't want to rush taking them off. Take them off bit by bit. Okay. Okay. And then turn that over, and you've got. So if I'm looking at my stencils, sorry, my sentiments. Let's pop that in the middle. So pop her up a little bit. She looks taller. And then for this one, I'm going to be using, just let me check that straight before I do anything else. Yeah. And for this one, I'm just going to be using the VersaFine. Now this is just a line sketch, so it's absolutely perfect to be putting on a multi-coloured background, should I say. And then it'll pick up what's there, and it will take it on as it's colouring in, if you know what I mean. I just want to do one final. I definitely want the sentiment to be quite solid. Okay, and then there you've got a quick card. So I will be making all the projects that I've done today into cards. So we've got 4 that we've done. Okay, as I say, they will be made into cards. I hope you've enjoyed what's looking like it's been over an hour, but by the time I've edited it, it probably still will be about around an hour, but we'll sort it out. But I hope you've enjoyed watching that, getting a little bit of inspiration in how to create backgrounds, and I hope that you would want to recreate some. If you want to see anything, you like anything, want to know more, ask any questions, do it in the comments below. That's brilliant. If you haven't already, subscribe and hit that notification bell, because it'll let you know when I've got another video out. So I'm not going to carry on chatting. I'm going to say bye bye and thank you, and I'll see you really soon for some more demonstrations. Thank you. Bye.